What if I told you that no one, not a rude stranger, not a toxic co-worker, not even that one friend who always tests your patience, could ever make you angry again? Think about it. How much energy have you wasted this week reacting to things outside your control? A snide comment, a delayed response, someone cutting you off in traffic. Every time you react, you hand over your peace like loose change. But what if, instead of being controlled by emotions, you became untouchable, calm, steady, unshakable? That's exactly what Stoic philosophy teaches, how to master your mind so nothing disturbs your inner peace. Stay with me, because in the next few minutes, I'll show you exactly how to stop getting angry or bothered by anyone, ever. Let's begin. 1. Limit exposure to toxic people. Let's be real. Some people don't deserve unrestricted access to your life. Just because someone has a title like friend, partner, or even family doesn't mean they have a free pass to disturb your peace. Some people are emotional black holes. Being around them feels like sitting in a smoke-filled room, slowly suffocating on their negativity. But what about family? Isn't it wrong to create distance from parents, siblings, or relatives who have always been there? Here's a Stoic perspective. Family should be a source of love and support, not guilt trips and emotional manipulation. If someone, even a family member, is toxic, you don't owe them endless access to your energy. Back in college, I had a friend, let's call her Sarah. Sarah lived for drama. Every day was a new crisis, a fight with her boyfriend, a problem at work, a betrayal by someone she barely knew. At first I thought, that's just Sarah. She's a little intense, but it's harmless. Spoiler, it wasn't. Every conversation revolved around her problems, her enemies, her latest meltdown. I became an unpaid therapist, and honestly, I started dreading her calls. But because I didn't want to be a bad friend, I stuck around, longer than I should have. Then came the breaking point. One night, Sarah called me at 2 a.m., crying and yelling because her boyfriend didn't text back. I tried to comfort her, but she snapped, "You don't even care." That was it. I hung up, stared at the ceiling and thought, why am I doing this to myself? The next day, I decided to quietly step back. No big confrontation, no dramatic exit. I just stopped being so available. I let her calls go to voicemail, took longer to reply to texts, and politely declined hangouts. And you know what happened? Nothing. At first, she didn't even notice. She was too caught up in her own drama. Eventually, she found someone else to play therapist. And me? I got my peace back. A lot of us tolerate toxic people longer than we should. Why? Guilt. I can't just abandon them. They need me. Obligation. But they're family. Cutting them off would be wrong. Fear of conflict. I don't want to deal with the drama of setting boundaries. Low standards. I've put up with it for so long, it just feels normal. But here's the hard truth. Guilt and obligation are not reasons to let someone drain your energy. And as for conflict, you don't have to start a war to set boundaries. Cutting toxic people off doesn't require a grand speech or a final showdown. This isn't reality TV. Instead, take a Stoic approach. Be less available. Start saying no more often and let their calls go unanswered. Don't justify yourself. You don't owe anyone an explanation for protecting your mental health. If you must interact, like with a coworker, keep it professional and brief. Don't engage in their drama. And if a toxic person asks why you're pulling back, you can be honest without being cruel. I've been focusing on my own priorities lately. I don't have as much bandwidth for other things right now. It's polite, but it sets a boundary. Family can be the hardest to set boundaries with, but it is possible. You don't have to cut them off entirely, but you can control how often you engage. If a family member constantly criticizes you, redirect the topic or set a firm limit. I love you, but I won't engage in negative conversations about my life choices. Visit less often, keep phone calls short, and stand your ground. Toxic people will test your boundaries. Stay firm. It gets easier with practice. Remember, setting boundaries with family isn't an act of betrayal. It's an act of self-preservation. Here's the truth. Toxic people need access to you. They need your time, your energy, your reactions. Limiting that access isn't cruel, it's self-respect. Think of your mental health like a garden. Toxic people are weeds. If you don't remove or contain them, they'll choke out everything good in your life. Flowers can't bloom in a garden overrun with weeds. And here's the flip side. What if you are the toxic one? Yeah, I said it. We've all had moments of selfishness, drama, or negativity. If people start pulling away from you, take it as a sign to reflect and grow. Life is too short to waste on people who drain your energy, disrespect your boundaries, or make you feel small. Whether it's a friend, co-worker, or family member, you have the right to protect your peace. So start quietly limiting your time with toxic people. Do it confidently, and don't look back. You deserve relationships that uplift you, not ones that weigh you down. 2. Lower your expectations. Let's be honest, most of us expect too much from people. We expect them to be kind, reliable, thoughtful, decent human beings. And when they fall short, we're disappointed, frustrated, or downright furious. But here's the hard truth. If you want to stop being so easily bothered, you have to lower your expectations. Sounds cynical? Maybe. But it's also the key to becoming unshakable. Think about it. High expectations are like emotional landmines, just waiting for someone to step on them and ruin your peace. You expect your friend to remember your birthday and they don't. Boom, you're upset. You expect your co-worker to pull their weight and they don't. Cue the frustration. You expect your partner to magically know what's on your mind without you saying it. Spoiler alert, they can't read minds, and now you're in an argument. The problem isn't just their actions, it's the expectation that set you up for disappointment in the first place. A few years ago, I had a boss who was, to put it mildly, not great. She was constantly late, forgot important deadlines, and somehow always managed to blame the team for her own mistakes. Every time she messed up, I'd vent to my co-workers, go home stressed, and lose sleep replaying the chaos in my head. One day, after yet another meltdown over her incompetence, a friend of mine gave me advice that changed everything. Why are you expecting her to be different from who she is? She's always like this. That hit me like a ton of bricks. I realized that my frustration wasn't just about her. It was about my unrealistic expectation that she would suddenly change into someone competent. Once I let go of that expectation, everything shifted. I still didn't like her behavior, but it stopped bothering me as much. I wasn't shocked by it anymore. Instead of resisting reality, I accepted it. And that acceptance set me free. Now, this isn't about becoming a pessimist who expects the worst from everyone. It's about being realistic. When you lower your expectations, you free yourself from the emotional roller coaster of constantly feeling let down. Instead of expecting people to always be on time, assume they might be late. Bring a book, and suddenly their tardiness doesn't bother you. Instead of expecting your partner to read your mind, communicate what you need. Problem solved. Instead of expecting everyone to treat you well, recognize that some people won't. And that's a reflection of them, not you. And here's the deeper truth. Lowering your expectations isn't just about protecting your peace. It's about recognizing your own imperfections too. How many times have you let someone down, forgotten something important, or snapped at someone because you were having a bad day? We're all flawed. So why hold everyone else to a standard that even you can't meet all the time? This doesn't mean you should accept mistreatment or abandon your boundaries. It means understanding that expecting perfection from imperfect people is a guaranteed path to misery. Instead, shift your mindset. Assume people are busy. If your friend didn't call back, maybe they're swamped. It's not always personal. Expect imperfection. People mess up, including you. Cut them some slack. Focus on what you can control. You can't control others, but you can control your reaction. The secret is in letting go. Not everyone will apologize. Not everyone will give you closure. Not everyone will meet your expectations, and that's okay. When you stop expecting so much, you start appreciating more. Suddenly, the small acts of kindness, a friend checking in, a stranger holding the door, feel bigger because you're no longer taking them for granted. So start today. Lower your expectations, not because people can't be better, but because you deserve to stop being constantly disappointed. When you let go of unrealistic expectations, you gain something even better: peace. 3. Treat annoying people like toddlers. Here's a mindset shift that will change your life. Start treating annoying people like toddlers. Seriously. Think about that loud, self-absorbed coworker, the drama-fueled friend, or the family member who tramples over your boundaries. Now, picture them as a tiny, chubby-cheeked toddler, stomping their feet and wailing because they didn't get their way. Annoying? Sure, but also a little ridiculous, right? Once you start seeing difficult people through this lens, it becomes impossible to take their behavior seriously. And when you don't take them seriously, you don't get angry. The reason this works is simple. Toddlers and frustrating adults actually have a lot in common. They both lack self-awareness. Toddlers scream in public without realizing how disruptive they are, and adults complain endlessly without realizing how draining they've become. They're ruled by emotions. Toddlers cry when they don't get what they want, while adults gossip, throw shade, or act passive-aggressive. And they crave attention, whether it's a toddler yelling, "Look at me," or an adult stirring up drama. The goal is the same: validation. Instead of reacting with frustration, try treating their behavior like a toddler's tantrum, with calm detachment and a touch of humor. Let me tell you about Kevin. Kevin was that guy at work, the one who made everything about himself. In meetings, he hijacked conversations to brag about his brilliant ideas. When deadlines were missed, he conveniently blamed everyone but himself. And if you dared to call him out, he'd sulk like a kid who just got told no dessert. At first, Kevin drove me insane. I'd vent about him to co-workers, replay arguments in my head, and even fantasize about quitting just to escape his nonsense. But then, during one of his infamous rants, where he was taking credit for a project he barely contributed to, I had an epiphany. Kevin isn't malicious. He's just emotionally underdeveloped. From that day forward, I stopped treating Kevin like an equal and started treating him like a toddler. When he complained, I nodded and said, "Oh, that's interesting," the same way you humor a kid telling you about their imaginary dragon. When he threw blame around, I stayed calm and redirected the conversation, just like you distract a child with a shiny object. And when he demanded attention, I gave him just enough to satisfy him, but never enough to feed his ego. Guess what? It worked. Kevin's antics stopped bothering me because I stopped taking them personally, and without my reactions fueling the fire, he toned it down, at least around me. Some people might say this approach is condescending, but is it really? If someone's behavior is childish, isn't it logical to respond in a way that actually works with children? This isn't about belittling anyone, it's about protecting your peace. You can't reason with someone who's emotionally immature. Trying to argue with them is like debating with a toddler about bedtime. It's a losing battle. Instead, meet them where they are, emotionally. Don't take the bait. Just like you wouldn't argue with a toddler screaming, "I want candy." Don't engage when someone's being irrational. Smile, nod, and move on. Redirect their energy. If they're ranting about something petty, change the subject. "Oh, I hear you. By the way, did you see the new coffee machine in the break room?" Stay calm and neutral. Toddlers feed off reactions, and so do attention-seeking adults. Keep your tone even and don't give them the emotional response they're fishing for. Use humor when appropriate. Diffuse their behavior with light-heartedness. If someone is catastrophizing a minor issue, say, "Wow, this sounds like a real crisis," with a straight face. Set boundaries. Toddlers need structure, and so do emotionally immature adults. If someone is being unreasonable, let them know where your boundaries are and stick to them. The deeper truth is this: when someone is being difficult, it's rarely about you. It's about them. Just like a toddler throwing a tantrum isn't personally attacking you, an adult acting out is usually projecting their own issues. Recognizing this makes it easier to respond with empathy instead of anger. This approach doesn't mean tolerating bad behavior. It simply means reframing how you see it. Instead of asking, "Why are they doing this to me?" ask, "What's going on with them that they're acting this way?" That subtle shift in perspective changes everything. When I started treating annoying people like toddlers, I felt an immediate weight lift off my shoulders. Instead of getting angry, I started seeing their behavior as a reflection of their struggles, not a reflection of me. And once you realize that, it's hard to take anything they do personally. So the next time someone is driving you up the wall, try this. Picture them as a tiny toddler in a diaper, stomping their little feet. It's hard to stay mad when you're mentally handing someone a juice box and telling them to sit in time out. Because at the end of the day, staying unbothered isn't about changing other people. It's about changing how you see them. And if that means treating them like toddlers, so be it. Your peace is worth it. 4. Say okay to everything. Here's a radical idea. Start saying okay to almost everything life throws at you. Not in a passive doormat kind of way, but with the unshakable calm of someone who refuses to be disturbed. The next time someone says or does something annoying, upsetting, or outright ridiculous, just respond with okay. Think of it as putting your emotions on do not disturb. Most people thrive on reactions. They want your frustration, your energy, your outrage. But when you say okay and move on, you take away their power. Someone insults you? Okay. Let them drown in their own negativity. Someone criticizes your choices? Okay. It's not your job to explain your life. Someone tries to drag you into drama? Okay. Just like that, you're free. I learned this firsthand with my aunt, let's call her Linda, who lives for drama. Family gatherings, a stage for passive-aggressive remarks. Holidays, a parade of complaints. One Thanksgiving she criticized my career, my relationship, even how I carved the turkey. I felt the irritation rising, ready to fire back, but instead, I looked her in the eye and simply said, "Okay." That's it. No argument, no defense, just okay. And you know what happened? She blinked, confused, then moved on to someone else. I defused her without lifting a finger. From that moment on, okay became my secret weapon. Every time Linda tried to stir up drama, I gave her the same calm, detached response. Eventually, she stopped coming for me, probably because I was no longer giving her the reaction she craved. Now, you might be thinking, isn't saying okay dismissive? Here's the truth. Not everything deserves your energy. Not every criticism requires a response. Not every argument needs your participation. Saying okay isn't avoiding conflict. It's choosing your battles. Some people just want to argue. Why waste your peace? You can't control them, but you can control how much space they take up in your mind. And here's where it gets powerful. Okay isn't just a word. It's a mindset. It means I refuse to let your negativity control me. Once you embrace it, difficult people lose their grip on you. That nitpicky coworker, powerless. That friend who loves gossip, deflated. That relative who thrives on drama, silenced. They stop pushing your buttons because you stop reacting. Most anger comes from resisting reality. We want people to act differently, be different. But when you say, okay, you accept what is instead of fighting what should be. And in that acceptance, you find peace. So, how do you apply this? Stay neutral. Say okay with a calm, even tone. No sarcasm, no eye rolls. Don't explain. Resist the urge to justify yourself. Just okay and move on. Keep perspective. Ask, does this actually matter? If not, let it go. Life is full of provocations, snarky comments, petty arguments, unsolicited opinions. But not every fire needs fuel. Next time someone tries to disrupt your peace, pause, breathe, and say, okay. Watch how it confuses them. Watch how it protects you. And watch how much lighter life feels when you stop carrying other people's nonsense. Because at the end of the day, staying unbothered isn't about changing them. It's about changing you. So say, okay, let it roll off your back, and keep moving forward. Your peace is worth it. 5. Be unavailable. Here's a game changer. Protect your peace by being unapologetically unavailable. Not just physically, but emotionally and mentally too. Stop being the person who always picks up the phone, replies to every text within seconds, or drops everything to help someone else. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can say is, "Sorry, I'm not available for this." And here's the kicker, you don't owe anyone an explanation. Think about it. How many times have you felt drained because you were too available? You said yes to plans you didn't want, listened to endless venting, or got pulled into drama that wasn't yours. Why? Because you felt obligated. But here's the truth. When you're always available, people stop seeing you as a person and start seeing you as a resource. They call, they text, they unload their problems, and they expect you to take it. Let me tell you about Sarah. She thrived on emotional chaos, always in a crisis, always expecting me to play therapist. At first, I didn't mind, but over time, I noticed something. Sarah wasn't looking for solutions. She just wanted someone to absorb her stress. One night, after another exhausting late-night call, I decided I was done. The next time she called, I let it go to voicemail. When she texted, I replied hours later with a simple, "Sorry, I'm tied up. Hope you're okay." Sarah didn't take it well. She accused me of being a bad friend, of changing, of abandoning her. But here's what happened when I didn't budge. She called less. And slowly, my energy returned. Being unavailable didn't ruin our friendship. It rebalanced it. And it taught me a powerful lesson. Being there for others doesn't mean sacrificing yourself. People will resist when you start setting boundaries, especially if they've benefited from your lack of them. They'll call you selfish, distant, or guilt-trip you into going back to the way things were. But you can't pour from an empty cup. Your energy is a limited resource, and not everyone deserves access to it. Being unavailable isn't about shutting people out. It's about prioritizing yourself. It's realizing that if you're always available to others, you're never truly available to yourself. So start small. Let calls go unanswered. Delay responses. Say no without guilt. True connections don't require constant accessibility. They thrive on respect and balance. Next time someone demands your time, pause and ask yourself, do I actually want to do this? If the answer is no, don't hesitate to be unavailable. Your peace is priceless. Protect it fiercely, unapologetically, and without guilt. The right people will understand. The rest, let them figure it out. Life is too short to let someone else's bad mood, bad day, or bad decisions take away your peace. But here's the deeper truth. When you let go of anger, frustration, and the need to react, you don't just avoid negativity. You make space for joy, growth, and real connection. It's not about shutting people out. It's about choosing who and what deserves your energy. So here's your challenge. The next time someone tries to get under your skin, pause. Take a deep breath. Remind yourself that your peace is yours to protect. You have the tools to stay unshakable. Use them. If this resonated with you, hit that like button and share it with someone who could use a little more calm in their life. Drop a comment with your best tip for staying unbothered. I'd love to hear your thoughts. And remember, your peace is your power. Protect it, own it, live it. See you in the next one. Stay strong, stay stoic.